Okay, this is part 2. I do want to make a retraction also. I guess it's a retraction, but I think I said it cautiously when I said it. I said if L-O-E-L-E-L-O-H is permissible, then Allah is permissible. So now, by that statement, ain't either one of them permissible then. Because I also saw a video of Arabic-speaking man who really knew his stuff. And he was showing some things in the Quran. It was very short, and I meant to write it down. I have to look back through my history and bring it back to you. But he was showing some things, you know, being an English-speaking Muslim, when I was one, I only, of course, had so much access to what was really going on, okay, admittedly. And I do have the understanding, because I've never been to the Middle East, but I have the understanding that in Middle Eastern countries, the Christian population says Allah. Okay, but I do also remember presenting to my brother Shaheed Shabazz, my main man Shabazz, who was a serious Muslim, presenting to him some information that I had about the moon god, the goddess connection, the Allah connection. Okay, then I also had the book by Dr. York, The Degree of Mohammedanism, which broke down, you know, a lot of things that I knew wasn't right, okay, no doubt, okay. So, again, as much as Catholics, everybody knows they're deceived, and everybody knows it's a lot of good Catholic people, okay, everybody knows that, okay. So we've got to say the same thing for Islam. But now I also looked at something else excellent, an excellent video that was put up about Islam's creation by the Catholic Church. Have mercy. And so that has brought me to some new things. And interestingly enough, the man who did the lecture, his name was Professor Walter, if you type me in Catholic and Islam connection or something to that effect, you'll see a lot of people have posted his video, and the professor does an excellent job, and he's got a British accent, sounds like to me. And I had seen him breaking down some stuff before. Matter of fact, that must have been like day 2 of a lecture that lasted over a period of days or a period of hours or something, because I had one disc that I had got, I don't know, some years ago. I used to watch that disc over and over and over again. He did an excellent job showing how all the pagan gods, that's Egypt, Babylon, Rome, Greece, they were all connected. They were all the same gods with different names. And he did a great job breaking that down. So I give him a strong endorsement. You'll find him. You'll find what I'm talking about. And he is a believer. He is a believer. And if you're not a believer, you've been tricked by the deceiver. Okay? I don't care what you try to quote to me in a book. I think I can't read. I read them same books. It took from... See, but I believe that the writers of the books are some crooks. It took for me what it's going to take for some of you. And don't let me do like my homegirl do and ask for the Most High to show you a demonic manifestation to get your mind right. That's what he had to do for me. Okay? That's what he had to do for me. There was no other way I would believe, because academically and using my linear logic, okay, see, you can never be the smartest man if you're measuring that by books, because there's always somebody that's read more than you. or can comprehend what they've read better than you can. Okay? Wisdom will only come through application of knowledge over time. And it takes time. Application of knowledge over a period of time brings wisdom. And I had to apply that which I knew to see what was false and what was true. So for some of you, I pray that you have to too. So you can get your mind right. Okay? I'm talking about this doctrine and dogma. I don't have no doctrine, I don't have no dogma. The example of Messiah is not one that in following will restrict you from doing anything that you ought to want to do. Okay? It will make you a better man. You need some parameters in your life. You can't govern yourself. You ain't got sense enough to. But we're going to talk about the Chapelle theory, and we're going to talk about the prophecies of Dave Chapelle. Interesting. This first came to me really after Obeezy came into office, and I started realizing certain things about him. And really when they brought out the information that Obeezy was related to the Bushes. And if you remember Dave Chappelle's show, the Chapelle show, okay, I had both seasons. He cracked me up for a number of reasons. One was, man, it's funny. Funny expressions, you know, quick one-liners, witty, universally funny, but still, you know, true to the hood. But then also the consciousness that I saw there. Really enjoyed it. But later on down the line, I began to see something. And this isn't taken away from the fact that I enjoyed it. You put it on now, I still might laugh. Unity! But, I digress. But, he made some predictions in those skits. And I'm going to tell you how he did that. And I'm going to also point you back in time to a couple of other legendary comedy stand-ups, stand-up comedians who may have done the same thing. And even look at a little bit of what has happened to our brother Cat Williams. Gotta have love for Cat Williams. Me and my cousin had a stray feline. We'd just come around the crib and, you know, we'd throw out some chicken bones or something to it, or some pieces of chicken. And yesterday he was hungry. He was scruffy and hungry and wild and about it. And we called him Cat Williams. But anyway, when you're invited to these strange parties like Cat Williams talked about. Cat Williams talked about the parties. Dave did not. But when you're invited to these strange parties, but he alluded a few times that he was kicking it with people that he wasn't able to kick it with before. He did allude to that. But you'll see some things that's going to trip you out. Okay? And as with, as you found an example of Tupac, you found it an example of Big Proof as well. Brothers see this weird stuff going on and they want to, you know, it's so out of the ordinary. You always want to say something to trip your homeboys out. Okay? To keep that type of secret is anathema. I mean, you know, no snitching is one thing. But to keep that type of stuff secret, especially when you're drinking and smoking, and we know Dave liked to get baked. Dave liked to blaze. But, you know, you want to say some tripped out stuff, and you want to hear your partner's take on it, you know, and you want to see your partner's trip on it. And he did just that. And he incorporated it into skits. And before we knew what a Barack Obama was, he did 2 skits, no less than 2 skits about a black president. One of them was the Black Bush skit. The other one was when he introduced you to the alien. Supposedly two different presidents. You know, it wasn't supposed to be the same black president character. I didn't get that idea. I don't know. You know, look back at the disc. Maybe you'll see differently. But it seemed like one was one season and the other was the other season, if I remember correctly. Okay. And Black Bush was very warlike. Okay. And when they introduced Bibble, my man Bibble for shizzle, Bibble was, to me, part of the Independence Day programming. You look at Will Smith and Harry Lennox. They was mentally preparing you for Obama, like they mentally prepared you for something that these secret society members adore, transvestites. They mentally prepared you for transvestites. And they love to do black women, going back to Flip Wilson. But they mentally prepared you for a false black woman a number of ways. They did it through, how you doing? You can't tell me. And I'm not like some folk, you know, I done seen a plenty of ladies, you know, you just can't fool me. I know when it ain't one. Okay? And why? Okay, why? Because it's a major Illuminati play to have you a president that's gay and a Baphomet representation as the first lady. That's their first lady. Come on. But let's stick to the Chapelle. Okay? Alright? So the way that the Rick James skit was born was the way all the skits were developed. Excuse me. He says the way that the Rick James skit was born. Okay? Charlie Murphy. He had some tripped out experiences. Partying with his brother. Listen to the story now, and listen to it a different way. Okay? You don't just end up as, you know, as a member of the brotherhood. You're going to go to some of the same places and spaces. You're going to intermingle with people who are also being pushed. Okay? Everybody playing their role in the agenda. So, some of them like to party, some of them don't. So you're going to see some of the same ones at parties. And when he said OJ had a big head, he was at the party too. Okay? But these skits were born of them seeing some weird stuff at these parties, confirmed by what Cat Williams talked about. Okay? And you know, that took bravery. Don't talk down on Cat Williams. He did what a lot of you wouldn't have done. Cat Williams had the guts and the other thing that rhymed with it to get out there and, you know, put some people on blast and to tell about the existence of the secret societies behind the scenes and the weird things that they do in front of you. Okay, he paid for it. He stood up for the Lord on, it was on CNN. He paid for it. See, when you stand up for that, you know, they'll oppose you then. They don't oppose no goofy goobers talking about it ain't no God. They can keep on going. They'll never get stopped. And if they tell you otherwise, they're lying. Okay? They don't mind you finding out much or nothing in the information age, as long as you can't relate it to a scripture, the Messiah, or the true Hebrews. Revelations 2 and 9 says it is a synagogue of Satan in full effect in the last days, in the days of Revelation. That's where we're at now. People say, well, these things happened a long time ago. Don't you know that things go in cycles? Okay. Talking about the way prophecy operates, the spirit realm, there's no time and space. What was, is, and shall be forevermore. It happened, it happened before, it'll happen again, my friend. But I thought back on a few different things then from the skits. The way that the Rick skit was born was the way I believe that the Wayne Brady skit was born. Yes, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. Wayne Brady know how to play a good square. You don't see that dynamic. Squares want to be players, and players want to be squares. Okay, they want to fall back. Okay, so it's not to get too much light on what they're doing. I believe Wayne Brady is a show enough handler, which would, you know, the handlers be like pimps. We talked about the old school music and how the males were used as the handlers over the ladies. Okay, Berry Gordy. Okay, a great many of them. Rick James. Okay. Eddie Kendrick said he wasn't with it. Okay, but you found this strange dynamic all through Motown. There's books about it. Alright? Motown and pimping, and you know, I've named the books in other videos, so we're not gonna go down that road. But I looked at game shows, the meanings of game shows, and especially one in particular, Let's Make a Deal. If you remember, Fred and his crew went on there. Fred, Grady was the Tooth Fairy. Fred dressed up like a gorilla. They went on Let's Make a Deal. And you think about Bob Barker and the accusations concerning him. I've seen young people walk around with the shirt on with Bob Barker holding the mic and say pimp at the bottom of it. Okay? Funny how they play with reality like that. Okay? The same way that they really did a ritual on Mia Farrow, and you better believe they did it on the black girl too in Rosemary's Baby. Okay, the same way that they really let Billy Bob go down through there with Hallie. Okay, there's a way that they play with reality. It works on the mind of the performer, and it works on the mind of us that watch. Okay, simultaneously. Part of how mind control is produced. Okay, but I looked at Let's Make a Deal. Let's Make a Deal is all about altars. I was watching it with my cousin one time. It was just part of the routine. He'd cut on the TV. It wasn't much on. Didn't have no cable, and it'd be Let's Make a Deal time. And so we watched Let's Make a Deal, and I was looking at it, and I started tripping because I started looking at all the people in the audience and the different ones that was picked and what costumes they had on. First thing that came to me was, this ain't random. They ain't just picking people out the audience random. And I started noticing a relationship with the costumes: a bee, a white rabbit, a fairy. Okay. And I started saying to myself, well, mind control. And I thought about the whole emotional dynamic in mind control. Bring you high, bring you low. 1 minute we're on terror alert red, next we on turquoise blue. Okay. The roller coaster effect. Okay. Taking you slow up, the anticipation, oh my God, and it sit there for a second at the top before it drop. Okay, that same dynamic in game shows. Okay, playing off of people's emotion and anxiety. Okay. And also putting out there, because when you broke and you watching game shows, you start to wonder, how can I get out there and get up one? Okay. The idea of getting something for nothing. Okay. The idea of stardom, even if it's momentary stardom. Stardom. You want to be a star, you'll be dome. You have a star's dome. There ain't much in it. Lights on, but nobody home. And so I said, wow, okay. Then I started peeping out Wayne Brady. And you know, we seen the Chapelle skit. That was funny. And we thought it was funny because it was so ludicrous. Wayne Brady's such a square. He would never, you know, popping people with the K. Okay. He getting toe off from the ladies of the night. Checking in Dave's sandwich. And we I said to myself, wait a minute. As I watched Let's Make a Deal with my cousin, I thought about different things concerning game shows, like I just relayed to you. And it started to come to me, but I needed some help. This is, again, your left brain only take you so far. It would be total speculation on my part, and I would dismiss it myself. But then you have your spiritual side. You have the ability to see and discern things by your spirit, and guess what happened? First of all, I started noticing how the chicks looked like they was all goo-goo-eyed for Wayne Brady. Thought about how Wayne Brady can freestyle. Okay, he has that ability to think on the fly. And there's a number of ways that can be achieved, people. You hear about the demonically evil rappers saying that they don't write nothing down. The Rain Man come over there. This brother got the Rain Man. Don't he put out music? Don't Wayne Brady put out music too? Okay. They don't bump it on the radio, but maybe he don't need them to. Okay. But I thought about how the ladies was looking, you know, all of them so enamored. Like if he wanted to take any one of them backstage and have his way, it'd be Burger King Day. So I said to myself, you know, because Lord, you know, you showing me something here for real? Not Wayne Brady. Is he a mind control programmer? Are these women implants planted on there? Young chick came up. She was attractive. She came up. She said something about her background. I looked at her name. She was dressed as a butterfly. I looked at her name. She said something about her background. You know, you just would tell a little bit about yourself. All the bells and whistles went off for me. Then her behavior. She acted so throwed off. Okay? She was throwed off. And so, for me, you know, again, you know, you look at it yourself, you see what you get. But for me, that was another example. Okay, Dave Chapelle knew something behind the scenes. He knew something that we regular folk, quote unquote, he was a regular person that just got let into a certain enclosed group. And that's the ones that make, that's the ones that trip out and want to tell the truth, like big proof. You regular. If you weird like them, you gonna keep that to yourself, and they gonna keep it to themselves. But if you regular, if you're normally well-adjusted, if you're a normal, well-adjusted thinking, non-deviant thinking individual, you're gonna see that stuff is gonna trip you out. Let's go on to another one. Oprah. Can I have my own opinion? I believe Oprah get in them parties and bust it wide open with her 6-toed self. 12-toed. Hey, little 12 toes. Not little. But yeah. And, Rosie O'Donnell said that, they used to have a lot of little secret lesbian sex parties. She said it like, ha 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 ha. But you know how they get down. Okay? The Sisterhood of the Bees. Okay? Wouldn't she have been in it? Maybe by this time she's like a madam. She's a boss queen. Okay? But when she first came on the scene, she had been a pageant winner. She talked about the abuse. I believe it was at the hands of her father when she first came out. Did she not? She went through everything that you have to go through to be mind control program slaves. And we don't have to go back down that road. People is pretty much sold. You know what's up on the O. Okay? And Dave Chapelle decided to do this skit. Now, we're going to add another dynamic to this too. He did this skit where he knocked her up and he was living like a king. That was funny. Okay? But again, I think it's because he saw. Well, Stedman, first of all, Stedman looked like Barack's uncle. And Stedman looked like he don't want a whale on a tail. He wants a tail on a nail. But you've heard things about her, rumored relationships with women, her and Gail. But we don't know none of this. We don't know none of this. Thumbs down me, because I can't prove it. There's no paper trail that Oprah licky like Gail. It's a little Run DMC analogy. But anyhow, so I thought about that. But then also, this is what some people say too. There was a video up on YouTube in the early for me. I started really being hip to YouTube about 2004 or 5. I know that's late for a lot of you, but it was after the Chapelle show was over, and people was talking about why did Dave walk away from the 50 mil. Okay. Right. You make a stand in that business, you gotta get low. Okay. You gotta get up out of there. Okay. Unless they wanna force you to continue to be a part of the show. Because getting low for you will confirm some of what you was trying to say and trying to do in order to expose these foes. And that would be the case of Cat Williams, who now has an owl tattooed on his chin, and it happened right up under your nose. Nobody came to help that brother. ODB cried out for help. Nobody came and helped him. He said flat out, "Please, somebody help me. They're trying to kill me." They asked him in an interview, "Who trying to kill you?" ODB. He said his quote. He said, "George Bush and them niggas." That's the quote. Okay? That sounds crazy until you understand what type of world that they in. Okay, so everybody's questioning why did at this time about I believe it was 04. What happened to Dave Chapelle? I was looking for some information on Dave Chapelle. I was watching little skits on YouTube. Dave Chapelle theory comes up. Now, in subsequent years, I've looked it up, have not found it. I don't know if it's back now. Okay? I'd be surprised. Or maybe I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe they tweak it now. But I'm going to tell you what it said then. Back then it said that the black elite, they did not use the word boule. Okay? They had another name for themselves. But named in that particular article, because it was an article, not a video, excuse me. Was it a video? Yes, it was a video, one of those you had to read. But in that particular piece of information, it said that the black elite, led by Bill Cosby, Oprah, Minister Farrakhan, Bob Johnson, you know, the head of BET, him, they were all, and I believe Al Sharpton, they were all on his head saying, listen, you know, you need to join our group. We want you to adjust some of the things that you're saying and doing, you know, because you're cooning. Sound familiar? And you join us and help to push this agenda. You know, I'm paraphrasing, but this is the bottom line. Why join them? So you don't have your own mind. You fall in line with their line, toward the party line. And you see what the party line is? I left one out, reparations. But anyway, make a long story short, it said that because of that and the threats that were connected, that's why he left. And I'm gonna tell you a couple of them threats. Say in one instance, he was looking at the TV, and again, you know, you ain't gotta believe me, but this is what it said. So he was looking at the TV, and Oprah was on. I believe they said it was the Tom Cruise jumping on the couch episode. I'm not, you know. But bottom line is, Dave looking at the TV, and you know, they're supposed to go to commercial break or something. And Oprah turned and looked dead in the camera, which means looking at him through the TV. And I've heard somebody else talk about a demonic event where the newscasters on the TV stopped, seeming like they was going by script, and started directing angry statements at this person who had just turned from a life of pimping into being a pastor. My main man Don, no, not Don Magic Man. But anyway, Dave looks, and Oprah looks at him from the TV and says, Dave, you know you need to come on and join in. Now, they had done a couple of things prior to that. They had sent him a Tupac doll with needles in it or something in the mail, saying, you know, you don't want to end up like him, you know, like him and Biggie or something to that effect. But the one, to me, that was the illest and made him get up out of there. So they kept escalating. He was a man about his. He didn't run and jump from the first pump. But they say Dave got out the shower and standing in the bathroom, according to this Chapelle theory. When he got out the shower, standing in the bathroom was two Nation of Islam, big bodyguard looking dudes. And they threatened to go upside his head if he didn't do what this black elite collective wanted him to. And if I remember correctly, I think they did lay hands on him. And so he got up out of there. And to me, that made more sense than, oh, he has drug problems, oh, he's depressed, oh, he's... Okay. People want to get away, or at least they want to get away as far as they can. Sometimes they realize that there's no place you can run to. Okay? The New World Order stretches far and wide across every land. New World Order, global elite. Okay? But, you know, he felt like, you know, hey, if I turn to my religion, if I turn to my nationality, if I turn to my culture, I'll be saved. And of course, you find that some from your religion and from your nationality are also enslaved. And will act as overseers to watch. Okay? So, that was interesting. But I had to relate that to the Oprah because, you know, it was said that he made the Oprah he made the Oprah skit, according to the Chapelle theory, in response to Oprah turning around hollering at him through the TV, which is something that could have been easily done. if the head of BET, you know, a major cable network, was also involved. And if these people were involved, period, those things are not impossible to do, you know. You can run different type of feeds through and make it happen. But yes, that was interesting. Two small things. Little John really being smart, which it comes to find out Little John is acting a fool on purpose. Okay? You know, he ain't even relevant no more. I know some of y'all like, who? Little John helped bring a new, revitalized ignorance to hip-hop music. You know, being ignorant is cool and acting dumb and loud is regular. You know, some people think that type of stuff is regular. I remember when the Goody Mob was representing Georgia, you know, as a northerner, they gave me a whole nother dynamic, you know, something different to think of when you think about people from down south. And then Lil Jon came in right behind it as Goody Mob is dismantled, and now CeeLo is the only thing left from them of any relevance in the entertainment world today. But they're dismantled. One of the members loses a leg, okay, in an accident. And then, of course, right behind, I guess you couldn't have a Goody Mob and an Outkast. It was kicking too much science. Goody Mob was really way more conscious as a collective. You know, you had Dre 3000, who was always, you know, pushing a level of consciousness, and then Big Boy to balance that off, who wasn't, you know, in general. And then, of course, you know, they changed that whole dynamic. But anyway, yes, so Little John really being smart. I've seen him on a few shows. You know, he sound like a lame to me. But of course, you know, sometimes that's who know how to act like they bout it the most, because they've been watching them people and wanting to be them and be like them. And if Hollywood would pay you, you know, if the business, the entertainment industry will pay you to act a fool, you know, and in your eyes you can finally be considered cool, some people will go for it. But okay, last and certainly not least, and it really comes to mind now that we're seeing what's going on. When I say race war, y'all, I don't believe that they'll ever get, you know, people are too apathetic to get that strong of a feeling to fight. You know, some people won't fight or throw rice at a wedding. Some people won't fight when things ain't right. Okay? They wouldn't bust a cherry or squash a grape. They in bad shape. But, you know, and some people will fight for nothing, even when they ain't right. But you're not going to see black and white folks just stand up and start slugging each other. How did the war with Russia begin? Yes, the war with Russia is, come on, it's right across the street from us. That's how close it is. It started with the Cold War back in the days of Khrushchev, Kennedy. Okay? Cold War, meaning it's not a hot war. We're not shooting weapons at each other. We're not going at each other physically. We're going at each other mentally. The hearts and minds first, remember. Okay? So the race war would be sort of a Cold War, but instead of it being the people versus the powers that shouldn't be, what they're going to push and what you're going to hear all of the elites, white elites and black ones too, do is create this sense that the enemy is not the powers that be, not the leadership of each community. I think white folks should go hard on their leadership, and I think we should go hard on ours. Then we can get along, okay? And that's all the different areas of leadership that's lied to us: the academics, okay, and the so-called authorities, okay, and the politicians, okay. Then we can have a dialogue and a discourse, and everything can be in order like it's supposed to be. All right. Okay. We can uncover all the lies that was told to me, and all the lies that was told to you, and then we can get together and do what we need to do. Okay. You can't skip past that, because the leadership uses that to keep us opposed and really preoccupied and distracted. Okay, so one thing that are really, if this is part of what they want to do, okay, I believe that Dave didn't stop with those examples. I believe that the reparations thing, I remember I thought about it when Obeezy gave out them checks. That's when it first came to my mind. I said, this kind of, and everybody was geeked, like they was about to get 5 racks. And, that shouldn't geek you up neither. Spend that at the mall. But you get my point. So I believe something else is going to happen like that, because some people that hold a chip on their shoulder and have prejudicial feelings against black folks, if you talk to them, they'll let that slip out their mouth if that's something that they really didn't like. Okay, what Obeezy did when he did that, I wasn't mad that nobody was getting no money. Get money, get this money, Slum Village. But I overstand socialism, okay, and I also overstand baiting trap with cheese. Have mercy. So that's what's going to happen. I would not be shocked and surprised if that don't be the result of the Ferguson tumult. They say, okay, well, how can we appease these so-and-sos? You know what they call them? It's names that only white supremacists use. How can we appease these coons? That's what they gonna say. You pick up on white supremacist words, you start calling your brothers that. You silly as hell. But anyway, so that's what I got for y'all today. And I don't know, maybe I'll do the rest on the news tomorrow. I need to look at some things, make some comments, maybe do some Skyping or whatever, all in a short window of time. So I thank you again for your time, and I thank you for your support and for your viewership. It's a temple of the truer Yahshua Ministries. Okay, that's a temple of the truer Yahshua, because we're each a temple. And I thank you again for your support of this ministry. And you can reach me by email, unplugem, UNPLUGEM @gmail.com. And to the brother, he asked me to pray for him. He's a new viewer. I did just that right on the spot. And a big shout out to the new viewer from Chi-Town, and to Brother Hudson from Chi-Town as well. All right, and big shout out to everybody from everywhere. Dice Girl 72, who's putting up some videos that you might want to look into, and everybody else that's a part of this family. House Junkie 777 always sends great information. And True Brown from Motown, Lioness for Yah, Leoism. Y'all know your names. Y'all know your names. I know I said I wasn't going to do that. I forgot just that fast. But it's alright. We covered. We're covered and protected. Okay? No fear. Fear is not of God. No fear here. So I ask right now in the authority of the name of Jesus, Heavenly Father, that you cover each and every one of the sisters and brothers who are a part of this family that you have allowed to be assembled in these days and times with the blood, Heavenly Father. The protecting blood, and that you bind to us all the whole armor of God of Ephesians 6. That you bind to us the 7 spirits mentioned by the Ancient of Days of Revelation and by the prophet Isaiah. The spirit of knowledge, the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of understanding, the spirit of counsel, the spirit of God's might, the spirit of the fear of God and God alone. And of course the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, to comfort us all in these trying times. And I ask this in the authority of the name of Jesus. I believe this, therefore I receive this, and it is so, and it is done. 1.